Today is catch, clean, cook video. Go to a highly pressured fishery. It's right down the street from me. It is crystal clear. It used to be a gravel pit and now it's just been converted to like a public park. But it gets hit hard with all kinds of anglers. So I'm hoping that I can be able to land enough bluegill to come home and fry them up. Almost forgot. Today's technique, we're going to be using a size 6 to size 8 bait keeper hook. We're going to be using live red wigglers, and we're going to take about 4 to 6 of those guys. We're going to completely cover the hook in the worms, and the strategy here is to hide the hook as much as possible. Since these fish get hit hard, stealth is going to be key. Hiding everything and being low key is going to get a lot more bites and bigger bites at that. So we're going to take that setup and we're going to throw it out weightless, and once it gets on their beds, that should trigger a bite and we can get some yummy bluegill. Alright guys, so I had the camera off, but I just got a little slab bluegill. Not so little, but we're doing a catch, clean, cook video today, so that will work out perfectly. There's a lot of meat on that fella. Keep him here. Finally, I hope they recorded. Yeah, that's a good one. Slow bite out here, bud. All right, guys, look at that guy. Try not to drop him here. That's a pretty good one. Add to the bucket here. That's what I'm talking about. Alright, I'm going to take this time and tell you, don't be like me. Wear your PFD. Wear your life jacket at all times. I was a freaking idiot and I was in a hurry and I did not put mine on, and I should have definitely had mine on. Definitely with a motor. So don't be like me. Wear your life jacket. So, I'm about to fillet up the bluegill I just caught. If you don't like seeing fish filleted or the squeamish of guts and stuff, probably skip this part of the video. But if you're interested in how it's done, I am by no means I'm an expert, but I have filleted quite a few fish so far. So some people will say that's probably not big enough to fillet. However, your boy here is not one to fry a whole fish and eat it. Unless I'm in a survival situation, I'm probably gonna fillet them. This is about the smallest I would go when I'm coming to filleting them. We pretty much eat the back strap here. But yeah, so you waste a little bit of meat when you do it this way, but I throw these guys in my compost and I make good fertilizer, so I don't think there's anything wasted. So the first thing is I like to take the knife, take it and raise up this fin. But you're gonna take a cut and cut kind of like right behind his ear right here, and until you go down to the spine. Also, my knife definitely needs to be sharpened here. Once we get to the spine, you'll take the knife and start to cut at an angle and run the blade of the knife all the way down the spine if you can. As you can tell, the knife needs to be sharpened, so not the greatest. Alright, flip it over. I like to leave like a little bit of the tail here attached. That way it kind of helps you hold on to taking the skin off the fish. So I do it this way. And just like that. Now the good thing about this type of knife is that, as you can probably see, it's a little flexible, which helps you get the skin off of the fillet. You just want to work it back and forth. If my knife was sharp, this would be a little bit easier. That's one fillet that needs the ribs taken out, but that is how you do one side. So we'll flip it over to the other side. And some people don't even use a board like this, but sometimes once you get going and have a few of these guys on your hands, it gets kind of hard to hold on to them. So the board kind of helps. Once again, we're just going to cut down to the spine. Once you do that, take your knife and start angling it on the spine. The bad thing about cutting them like this is you really gotta get through that rib cage, and that rib cage will really wear the blade out. All right, here we go. As you can see, there's not like too much wasted. I probably could have went down a little farther, but like I said, I am not an expert. I'm not perfect at this, but this is what it is. All right, and then the most important part here is getting that knife to really flex. Just like that. Alright, so got pretty much all my back straps off here. I'm gonna get the ribs out of them. I like to try to clean up as much as possible between stages here. This is a pretty good example. I like to try to always get the blood, anything off of here. I feel like that's how you, I feel like that's any gamey taste that you get is probably from that, so I always try to clean it up. And now I'm going to take this knife, and the rib cage kind of goes like right underneath this, and I'm just going to cut right along it. You can feel it. Just take the blade, put it right up against them, and voila. There we go. A yummy piece of bluegill. Some people that might not even be that big at all, but once you deep fry this up, I can eat these like potato chips, so that is plenty for me. Sometimes when they got bigger belly, you can leave the belly fat on them. Alright guys, I'm going to start this meal by preparing the potatoes. And anytime I eat fish out of a local body of water, or really anytime I eat wild game fish, especially during the summer when everything's growing and it's in season, I try to eat locally. And what I mean by that is that these potatoes that I'm chopping up right now, these are from my grandpa's garden that is right down the street. It's about 5 miles from me. So that's local, and I'm also going to be fixing corn on the cob, which is from a local farmer that said it was grown in a greenhouse locally, even though corn is not technically in season right now. However, it's from a local farmer, so I try to keep as local as I can. Not everything's going to be perfect, and the seasonings and stuff I'm going to be using are not local. Those are the store-bought stuff. But yeah, anytime I eat wild fish, I try to make it as local as I can, especially during the summer. I don't know why, but I think it's just important for the soul. What? I'm cooking. Frying some fish. And I'll be adding a pepper to the potatoes and a little bit of seasoning, but I'm going to go more into detail on how I fry the fish rather than how I cook anything else. So I'm just going to speed through this part and get to the fish. Alright, so I grabbed the beer. It doesn't really matter what beer you use. As long as it's kind of like a light ale beer, that's probably going to be best. And now I'm going to be adding honey to the beer. That's what makes this the quote-unquote secret recipe, is I'm going to add honey to the beer. And as you're about to see, it's not that easy to mix the honey into the beer, but with enough time and a little bit of patience, you can get those two mixed up very well. After you get the honey and the beer mixed up, I'm going to be adding 2 caps full of lemon juice. This kind of just helps give the fish an extra lemony taste. This is just personal preference. You don't have to do this. You can skip this part, or you can add some more. And maybe in the future, instead of adding some lemon juice, I'm just going to get like a lime beer and try that instead. Alright, here I'm going to be adding canola oil. You can fry these up in many different oils. I'm actually going to be switching up here soon because it is not a very healthy oil to be cooking it in, and I like to be semi-wet healthy, even though this is going to be deep fried. It's not the best oil for you health-wise, so whatever you like using, use that. But that's what we're going to be doing here. I have the oil right now is heating up, and as I'm heating the oil up, I'm going to be adding the fish fillets to the beer and honey, and I'm going to let these guys soak in here for a little bit. And another thing I'm going to do is add a little bit of salt to the beer and the honey. As these fish fillets, they kind of soak in there, I'm going to add a little bit of salt. And I'm not going to leave the fillets in there no longer than 15 to 20 minutes. At that point, the fillets will start to become kind of soggy and they'll start to deteriorate. Alright, so I'm grabbing the fish breading, and today we're going to go with Andy's seasoning. This is something I picked up at GFS a while back. I had to do like a big fish fry, and I just picked up a giant bag, and I have a lot left over. But this is Andy's seasoning fish breading yellow traditional cornmeal recipe for fish and shrimp. And I've used this quite a bit, and this stuff is freaking good. And so I'm going to be adding this to the bowl. And when I add it to a bowl, I'm also going to be adding a little bit of salt. The oil is up to temp, and I've added a couple fillets to get the oil going. And now I'm going to take the rest of the fillets and I'm going to roll them in the breading. And the goal here is just to get every little tiny piece of that fillet coated in the breading. And once I get a bunch of these guys coated, sometimes I just leave them sitting in the breading bowl until they're ready to get thrown in the pan. Once the fillet's in the grease, I'm going to leave them in there about 3 to 4 minutes per fillet. Now, depending on how crunchy and fried you want them, you leave them in there a little less, a little longer, but at least 3 minutes till you get that solid cook all the way through. So I'm finishing up the last couple fillets here, and the potatoes are finishing up, and I'm about to feast. Made it this far. I definitely appreciate it. It was a lot of fun making this video. I'm about to enjoy it. I hope you all give the honey beer recipe a try if you fry your own fish. It is super easy. please give it a try if you haven't. Catching and eating your own fish is like a very unique experience. It's a very unique feeling. I highly recommend you go out and try it. Now, I'm going to do my favorite part about this whole video, is enjoy my hard-earned work here, if that makes sense. I don't even know if that makes sense. But I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to tear it up. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Subscribe, comment below if you have any questions. I'll get back to you, and thank you for watching again.